All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Slate Lace podcast. Only 2/3 of the Slate Lace gang today, but we'll be back in full action pretty soon.
That's why you didn't hear the gang part.
Yeah.
But this is where I get in, to say hi.
It's a light day for us, as you can tell by the attire. I got the hoodie on today.
Yeah, there's no real effort right now.
We're keeping it light today. We're keeping it nice and light. Hey, we're taking a deep dive into one of our, can I say, favorite films of this?
Yeah.
Of 2019?
No, it's definitely a favorite film. I am not knocking that at all.
But he's got some other discussions for another day. But we're going to take a deep dive into the film Parasite. It has cleaned up at the Oscars.
That's crazy.
It really has. I was shocked with how much it won. But then again, it was a great film. So just to name it off, it got Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Foreign Language Film.
Yeah, and then it got Best Picture.
And then Best Picture. That's insane.
Yeah.
He cleaned up.
Yeah.
But the writer and director of Parasite is Bong Joon-ho. And he's got like 15, I think maybe more than 15 titles under his belt. But aside from Parasite, all I recognized was Oakjaw, which was that film with like the pig or like the animal or something like that. And then Snowpiercer. The rest are like definitely more Korean films. But yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's got a plethora of films under his belt.
How long did it take you to practice these names and get them right like that?
Look, this is what I do. I got a BA in journalism, and I just rattle them off. That's how I do.
Yeah, I'd have been butchering the names. But
I do my research.
Now, Parasite, it was solid. It was very solid. I just wanted to start off by saying that when you work on films a lot, and it's like in your career path, when you watch films differently. So you don't see it from the average consumer.
Okay.
So like during like moments in like a scary film, you're like, okay, well I already know somebody's coming out of the left corner, like the way they set the camera up, the way they're panning, like someone's there. So with that being said, when you're watching Parasite, there was a particular moment where I had forgot that I wasn't a director, and I was just an average consumer. And I think that that's special, that it's rare for me nowadays to where I'm watching a film and I get lost and I'm just in the film. Right.
He's usually got his director cap on.
I got the cap on. And so I'm just literally thinking about shots and how many times they're cutting and all these whatever type of things. And it was like I got lost in Parasite.
That's a good thing.
And another thing that made the film, that I knew the film was really good, was it was a day that I was like dead tired. Like I had only slept like a couple hours, went to work, and then went to the theater after that and was up the whole time. Usually if I'm like tired like that and then a film is dragging along, I will be asleep in the theater.
For real. He's hit me up. Fell asleep on it.
Yeah. I fell asleep on it.
Well, when you're an A-list, you can just go see it again.
We'll just go see it again.
But, we're A-list members.
With that being said, there's a few films that were up for Best Picture this year that I was asleep on, at least 3 or 4 of them. So that's crazy to say. But, for the most part, they were all good. But I'm just saying, that's how good Parasite was. But the moment that I'm actually talking about is because we can talk about the moment.
Yeah. Right? We'll talk about this moment and then we'll get into the we'll get into more meat. Yeah, right, go ahead. Finish your thought.
It's when they're in the house and the family comes home and they're hiding under the table, and the husband and the wife they're sleeping on the couch. I was like so invested. I'm like, come on, don't see him, don't see him, don't
very
see him.
Intense, very intense.
Heart racing. There's like little music going on, so it's just like you're just fully invested. You feel like it's real because a lot of times when you cut, a lot of times when you don't use music, it just makes it feel real and authentic. Because in real life, if you're hiding somewhere, there is no music. All you hear is your heartbeat. All you hear is the sound of you breathing And so they kind of had that going, and I was definitely
invested. Hey, it has you. Once it has you, and you're invested for the whole movie. But we're about to get into some of the facts, so stay tuned.
Only one kid in history had ever attempted what Benny was about to, and he got eaten. So we were worried. real worried. Even when Benny brought out the secret weapon, shoes guaranteed to make a kid run faster and jump higher. PF Flyers.
We can't let him do this, man.
All right, to get into some of the, nitty gritty of the film, the summary is all unemployed, Keatek and his family take peculiar interest in the wealthy and glamorous Parks as they integrate themselves into their lives and get entangled in an unexpected incident. All right, so the movie is described as a comedy drama thriller, and it grossed $370,000 or something like that in one weekend, which is the highest grossing for a foreign language film. So that's interesting right off the bat. I mean, I was drawn to it, but right off the bat, it did pretty well. I actually did not see the trailer, which is the interesting thing. I never saw a trailer for it, but I just kept seeing that movie poster, and that movie poster just kept pulling me in for some reason, and I wanted to see it. But I literally never saw a trailer. How about you?
Agreed. The poster.
The poster was fire.
I had no idea what the movie was about or anything like that. Didn't watch the trailer. A lot of times I actually just don't even want to watch the trailer. If a poster grabs me, I'm like, don't want to watch it just because I don't want it to possibly get spoiled for us. But yeah, I hadn't seen it either. Saw the poster and was just like, yo, what's that?
Yeah, and I kept checking it out because we have the Amazon Fire Stick, so we got a lot of movies coming to us, and I kept seeing it on the Fire Stick, and I was like, what is this film? Has it been out for a while? So I didn't know much going into it, but to go over some initial thoughts, it was the poster alone that drove me in, like, something about me. I was thinking horror. I don't know why, like, I kept thinking horror this whole time, but going into the movie, I was like, oh, I'm about to be scared. But it's not that at all. And I think it was because, like, the black bars over their eyes on the movie poster and stuff like that. We'll throw the movie poster up for y'all to see. But yeah, it's I don't know why, I just had a completely different idea of what the film was going to be about going into it. You?
And and the cool thing about it was that there was no actual traditional, I want to say, marketing. Because I saw everything basically, whether it was on the internet, which is new, and then obviously on Amazon, which is new. Us with the Fire Stick, which is new. It wasn't like I was riding around the streets and I look up and oh dang, there's a poster. So it was kind of cool that they could kind of do it like that, and still take the world by storm, which essentially is what they did.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Mr. Ho didn't have like enough money for this marketing or something like that.
It's
Maybe
crazy.
he didn't have a big budget, but he grossed a bunch in that first weekend and made it the #1 highest grossing foreign language film. And then on top of that, he just cleaned up at the Oscars. So congrats to him. Hats off for sure. So to get into our reaction after we saw it, obviously, from what I read online and stuff like that, people grasped the overwhelming theme of classism and socioeconomic status. That's obvious. But for me, like, the thing I liked was, like, the family. I got out of it, like, the family, like, ride together, die together. These were some straight-up gangsters, like, hustling, swindling, and, like, putting each other on, though. Literally, the brother came, made his way into the Park family, brought his sister on right away. Sister brought on Pops, and then the Pops brought on the mom. Like, it literally, like, these were some gangsters. Like, I love this family, and then that's what I took from it. It's just like family rides for each other. And then even at the ending, which we'll get into more, it's all about his family. He's trying to keep that family unit together. But that's, aside from the obvious difference of class, them physically living lower and the Parks living higher. So it's that, status and all that stuff. But for me, like, just the family, like, ride or die mentality was basically what I took from this movie. And it's great.
Well, first thing, It was crazy in the sense that for me, I do watch all films, but if it's in another language, I really have to commit time.
Oh, wait, can we pause real quick? Because what this man is not going to give me credit for is the fact that I basically put him on this movie, forced him to go see it.
Shout out.
Oh, okay, I guess I was getting my shout out. I'll wait for my shout out. Go. I'm going to toss it back to you.
So
Go.
I accept your apology, first thing. So basically, when I'm watching a foreign language film, which I do like because one of my favorite directors, anyways, that's for another day. It's like I have to dedicate time to it because I really got to pay attention and read because I'm not like the biggest reader out there. Like, it's like if I'd rather have an audio book, to be honest. So I'm like, I don't know. And Sydney's like, you got to go watch the movie. Like, how can you not watch it? It's the best film all year. And I'm just like, nah, you tripping. There's no way it's the best film all year.
Fighting me. Fighting me.
And I'm like, but I obviously, we dedicated to watching films, so I'm like, yeah, I'll go watch it, but like I'm not rushing because I really just don't want to sit there and be reading the screen. I want to watch everything.
When you watch a
see
foreign language
the frame
film,
within the frame and all that type of stuff.
You do get caught up on those captions. So
so I'm doing a lot of staring, and I didn't want to do that. But man, then I went in there, and then it happened. Yeah, so my bad. That's just I just want to start off by saying that I do apologize. You were right.
He admitted it. This is crazy,
y'all. It was
y'all.
fire. It was definitely fire, and definitely deserves whatever. Everything that it got, it totally deserves that. So I'll start by saying that. What I really did was again the social economical background, and I like the details and how they tell it. It's like little subtleties, it's like the dad, what's his name? See, this is my problem when you have to read.
Ketek.
The rich father.
Oh, Mr. Park.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Oh, actually, that was kind of simple. All right.
He has a first name, but we're going to call him Mr. Park.
Okay, Mr. Park. He's the homie. I love his house. Fire. Anyways.
Nice modern. This guy's Mr. Modern.
Modern. So, house was fire. Shout out to Mr. Park, even though it's not really his house. Anyways.
Fun fact, they built that house just for this movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah. The trash can they used was $250,000 US for a trash can. That's how high end and the architect they used and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I do my research here on the Slate Lace podcast. You can plug it.
Man.
It is what it is, y'all. It's too easy out here.
Man, that's crazy. Okay, I didn't even know that. But I mean, shout out to you. Okay, so Mr. Park, I like subtleties. Is just like how he's always noticing smells. The scent that he smells on the other father. And it's that's him. It's okay, he's viewing him as a lower class.
That part was crazy.
He's here, and then he's here, and it's he's smelling him more than once. It's he's basically saying as if he smells homeless. Yeah. When you're in the streets of whatever, Hollywood, and you're on the side where a lot of people don't have homes and stuff like that, and they're living under the bridge. That's the type of smell he's basically associating this man with. I
think he said it's people that ride the subway.
It's the subway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The smell of people that ride the subway.
Again, so then that's another class. And it's what do you mean? The average consumer rides the subway. Yeah. Depending on what city you live in, that's literally how you get around. Yeah. But again, it's when you start to build up, because you can see the type of man that he is. He's like the CEO of his company type thing. But again, it wasn't he wasn't given that. So he had to work his way up. But it's along the way, he worked his way up. And it's he forgot about being in that actual position. And that there's actually people that live like this, and that's okay though. Yeah. So that was really big. That was really big because it's it doesn't even have to, you don't even have to be overseas to relate to that. This is today.
That's now.
This is America.
The haves and the have-nots, yo.
In Granada Hills, in Los Angeles, anywhere. This is the stuff that people are going through. So I loved it. It was real. It was real.
Another crazy thing for me was how poor this family actually is. Literally the opening scene, they have their door open and someone's doing fumigation. Mm-hmm. And instead of closing their window, they're oh, just let it in. We'll get free fumigation. You can die inhaling that kind of stuff. So it's crazy. This is a dirt poor family, but they pull together and just basically swindle and hustle their way up into kind of making a better life for themselves. So I admire it. Sometimes you gotta hustle, and it might not always be a straight path, but you gotta kind of swindle your way in, and they did that.
Yeah, I like the touch of realism, but still there's a little fantasy to it. Not saying that none of this can happen, but the way we exaggerate things is because of the way they portrayed the family is okay, really we're gonna do the fumigation that, but I like that. That's the storytelling aspect. That's what cinema is, so you take that and then you still put all the realism around it, and then you're you're building this. So
they literally pizza box folders.
Yeah, that was another gig that they had. That was another gig they had.
The lady had the nerve to complain, not trying to pay him. They're $2. Give him the money.
And it was the fumigation had happened, so it's just like, come on,
and
the
they were
boxes
still
are
throwing
already no
boxes.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they hustling.
But
So,
exactly. So
but
shout out to this family.
to the family.
I love the Kims. The Kims are the poor family, and yeah, man,
but
that's how it's done.
but what I was also loving, I think, is just that the people living under them, because it's literally essentially they're beneath them.
Yeah. So as
Beneath,
low as
period.
the Kims are, the family that's living literally in that trap door are
Is
even lower.
beneath
So
them.
they have
Yep.
literally nothing.
Yep.
I think the husband is something's up with him. Like,
Yeah, well, they just literally. Well, I mean, I think it's just that it's like going stir crazy in a way, like if you were in prison. But it's just like when you live in such a confined space for the amount of time that he did, which was 4 years. It's like that's gonna do that to you. There's literally no room to walk. You're not getting sunlight. You're not getting anything. You know.
all that time they thought that the youngest son of the Parks was crazy, but he really was getting Morse code.
Yeah.
Like, it's just some of these twists and turns where this movie took you is insane. Like,
the movie's layered up. It's layered
sure
up for sure.
Like, watch it after you see this podcast, and you'll see everything that we're talking about.
There's nothing cheap about the film. It's
not.
yeah.
Like, you have no idea where it's gonna go. They had an incident. They called it the incident where this boy basically got spooked. Thought it was a ghost in the house, but it turns out it was the man
helper,
living
in.
You know, the house. What do they call them? Maids, basically living underneath them. He came up from the trap door one night a little too early, thinking everyone had went to sleep.
Yeah, and the boy was there.
And since then, they had been communicating via Morse code, like tap tap dot dot. Like,
the light flashing. Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's a wild ride for sure.
Yeah. But what I was gonna also say is what I admire even just about people in life is sometimes people can find happiness in anything, right? Because you're just glad to be alive. So what I admire about the man who's been living down there for 4 years is he respects what the other man has been doing, his hustle, you know, this house that he has them living in, like all of that. It's like he's literally like, I'm living here rent free. This is literally like his mindset is, I'm living here rent free. How can I complain about anything?
Yeah.
Like, I just enjoy being down here, you know? It's the craziest thing. It's like, I may not have much, but guess what? I'm alive. That's all I can't say too much more, because there's a whole lot of people on earth that are not here that would love to trade places with me. And it's just literally, that's just basically his mindset. Yeah. Can't even be mad at the man.
One question I want to ask you, Vinny, is should you look at this Kim family as villains? Because at one point they had to basically bump off the current housekeeper to get the mom on board by poisoning her with the peach. So there were some methods that they had to take in order to all, you know, be living under this roof and reaping the benefits of working for a rich family. So how should we look at the Kims? You know,
I think they're dark heroes.
Okay.
I think it's like when you see like The Dark Knight, you know, like there's characters that are going to do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Yeah.
That's essentially what they are. Because again, they're like, we're hungry. And until you've been at that point to where you have nothing to, you know, like that you will risk it all, because it's like you have everything to gain, but you have nothing to lose. You're at the lowest point, and that's literally what they were. And so, you know, that's why you have to view them as a dark hero. But also the reason I look at them as a dark hero is because then what started to bother me about the characters, and again, but this is good writing, this is good cinema, this is good all of that. It's like now they're like, well, what if this was our house? Man, like, it's not. Yeah. It's not. It's already enough. Y'all got put on. This is like everyone is in this house now.
You can eat, you can survive.
You can do,
like, when is enough going to be enough? A little bit.
Yeah. If it was your house. You know, now that's a whole different type of hustle we're talking about. You're gonna overthrow them and take the home? It's just
the story. Excuse me, don't kill me if I get this wrong, but like the Icarus and his wings, and he flew too high to the sun, and then it melted and he dropped. I think this is just the story of greed. If that's not the story of greed, don't kill me. But I think that's correct. I think that's the correct analogy.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. So don't try to fly too high, because that's what happened. Yeah. And you know, some stuff cracked off from there, but we'll get into that. But basically, you know, to touch upon what Vinny said, is their actions were kind of justified. at the end of the day. I understand, that level of poverty. Shoot, I'm gonna do whatever.
We feel for the character because it's like we see them and their living situation and they're not doing well at all. So it's like you understand that it's like, oh, I took 2 other people out of a job, but you get that. You understand that because you're like, well, they had nothing else.
Yeah.
And what they do is, the way the director played with our minds and allowed us to feel for them was like they were like, well, I'm sure they found another job, right? That's what they would say. Remember when they lost the driving guy lost his job? It's like they're okay. They'll be all right, right? Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Essentially, they can go get another job.
We hope so.
That's how we look at it. But jobs are hard to come by at times. So.
All right. Another thing I wanted to bring up to Mr. Vintage, Mr. OG man, Mr. Classical Film, is this Mr. Ho. His nod to Alfred Hitchcock. I think it's one of his favorite directors, and then there were several like kind of nods to him throughout the film. So there's a lot of voyeurism. For those of you that didn't take, film classes like we both did sitting here, voyeurism is like when the subject doesn't know they're being watched. So a good example of that in the movie is when this oldest son of the Kims is like looking out into the yard at the picnic, and he's like, "Do I fit in here?" and asking all those questions to the little girl. Well, I don't know why you'd ask her. What does she know? She's so young.
She's a kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's a good example of it. But did you notice the voyeurism and the nods to Alfred Hitchcock?
No, because I was reading too much. But that's my problem. So I only saw it 1.5 times. So I believe probably on another watch there's things I would have caught.
Yeah, and then I guess they also say that there was actual like a collection of Alfred Hitchcock things in the Parks home, which I also didn't see.
All right, you can go. But no, I didn't catch anything
I didn't see anything
personally. But now I'm slightly disturbed that I did not catch much. But again, I only really saw it once, so it's understandable.
We're watching each movie like 4 times.
Yeah, so I mean, by the 4th, I'd be talking about every intricate detail about it.
I definitely want to go back and try to see those Hitchcock references. But from off the top, though, there's a lot of voyeurism. There's a lot of, when they're looking at the little boy in the yard and his pitching his tent. So there's a lot of that where they don't know they're being watched. That's throughout the whole film. But that's dope that he's kind of giving a nod.
But since we get to talk about Hitchcock, and that's like my favorite director, literally it's my favorite. Okay, but even Rear Window,
I know.
But okay, but since we're talking about watching without, the whole watching thing, Rear Window, we got that. Vertigo, we got that. That's like Psycho. Kind of we got it's literally right. He does that in every type of film. That's his thing. He has he's kind of into that thing. So that's cool that my boy over here touched on that.
Jun-Ho, shout out.
Right, shout out to him. I'm just bothered that I didn't necessarily see it, but I did see that shot. It kind of reminds me of the end of Psycho when Norman Bates is sitting in the what is it, the police station, but he's like in the
interrogation room.
There we go. And that type of shot, the shot is, I think, the frame is almost the same if I remember correctly. And they're basically talking about he's like in his own mind now in Psycho. But again, the shot is almost the same when he's with the girl and he's watching the party and he's asking if he fits in there. So if that's the case, I do see that now. But other than that, I haven't caught too much. Maybe another one would probably be another one is when the boy's in the tent. I'm now, as I'm just sitting here thinking about it, that's probably another moment when he's talking about like him out there, like whatever, being a kid and it's raining and all that type of stuff. So that's probably another moment. But that's cool. That's cool. I'm glad they said that because now I'm like kind of now I'm starting to see little moments. Yeah.
But shout out Bong Joon
in real time.
He for sure likes his Hitchcock and his maybe it's in the other.
So do I.
We haven't seen many of those.
Yeah.
I just knew the big names from what he's done, but I haven't seen a lot of his other work. But now I'm interested to check it out for sure to see if he kind of keeps that up throughout his films. And then also excited to see what he freaking does next. Like,
I know.
This guy, he coming off a big win.
I mean, it's not like he's young though.
No,
you know what I mean? He's made a many of films.
People are gonna be coming after him, with a bunch of scripts and projects. So looking forward to that. But let's go ahead and jump right into this ending here.
Okay.
The ending is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's an ending that you don't get every day, and that's what I like. You know,
let's start with the picnic where everything kind of just boils
okay.
over. For me, this was shocking. I didn't know that, to spoil it, spoilers. This is a deep dive, so we spoil. That they were gonna kill off any of the family members.
Yeah.
That part kind of freaking sucked. And then at that, like, I feel like the sister was like the most talented as far as like con artists go.
Yeah, she was very good.
I was like hot when she got hit, but for me, let's talk about this. It's crazy what set the dad off, and I'll let you take that with what set Pops.
Mr. So.
Jim off.
But that's like what we were talking about before. Is just, he wasn't even necessarily
gonna
do anything, right? But it's the fact that he even insulted. Basically, is what you look at as a fellow member. When you're at the bottom and you're struggling with people, you cling to everyone because it's like you guys are a team. You guys are all from the bottom. You know what I mean? And you're all trying to come up.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you're supposed to understand. And that's one of the things that he tried to implement into this film, because when they even first got into the basement and found the family, the first maid was already like, we're a team. What do you mean? We're all poor.
Yeah, which is crazy.
We're all poor.
And then let me just get a side note on that. I thought they would team up. That's the way I thought in my mind it was going. I was like, okay, so now it's just going to be all six of them.
We all live down here, whatever it is, because that's how it should be.
But the fact that they got all high and mighty now.
They're greedy. This family is greedy. Yep. That's literally what it is.
So that goes back to, even we can tie into what we were saying about dark heroes and whether we should look at them in a positive light.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Ends justify the means, all that kind of stuff.
But okay, so as I take the floor again, so she's literally like, we're on the same team here. We're all broke. We are all poor. This is our come up. What do you mean? Like, let's team up type thing. So when you're that, again, lower class of a person at that time, they were greedy, but it was just the fact that this rich man did the scent, right? The whole film, you're triggered by it, right? Like, imagine you're driving for someone, and he's just literally talking about, well, this man smells. I can't stand the way this man smells. And it's not like as the cologne that he's wearing. He's just literally, he's like putting this man down, and that gets to you. That irks you. That digs deep, right?
Yeah.
And so you slowly transform. Like, it's like we have this build up, right? And it's like, this is like the third or fourth time we've heard about this scent in this, so now he's had enough.
But mind you, he had started to like Mr. Park.
Yeah, no.
He had grown to respect him, but it's always that one little dig.
It's it's the switch, and it's just you bring it back to, oh, here he goes. So it's insulting a lower class person, and he's basically viewing him as a lesser human being. That's basically how he sees him. So then when he saw that, enough was enough, and he went and he went and obviously he stabbed him, which was insane, because that is, when you're watching this film, you don't really know how things are going to develop. You're just kind of watching and you're like, what are we watching here? What is this doing? Where is this going? Why are, why? And then, you slowly get your answers and stuff, and it's crazy. But that is my favorite scene from the film. Yeah. The ending and stuff after that, like, it's just all right to me. It's like, because it's like, they felt like I guess they had to do it. It's the studio, like, let's just give them a little more information and all that. I didn't really need that type of stuff. I was cool. I do like how twisted it was, and how it just shows, he layered this film up.
For me, you thought that picnic scene was as sad as it was gonna get, right? Like,
right.
I thought that was as bad as it's gonna get, because the son even almost died, but then he ends up waking up. I don't know how he survived that head injury.
I know.
That's fake, because you would be
right.
dead.
But that's my thing. It's like that type of stuff.
That part. But then now the dad's trapped in.
That's the dope part.
So he's trapped, living underneath the house now. And so, the ending is the son's writing this letter to his dad saying, hey, one day I'm going to buy that property and you're going to be able to come up from under the floor. But Go ahead, sir.
Now that I think about it, and Hitchcock and all that type of stuff.
So
a lot of times, what Hitch likes to do is he'll intro my boy Hitch. You know, that's the homie. Shout out to him. You know, rest in peace. Things that they like to do is you give like these little bird crumbs, right? Like you'll show somebody something, and you focus on it just a bit, right? So then your mind goes, okay, why did we just look at this light here for so long? What is that supposed to mean? And then you cut away from it, right? And you don't show it for a while, but you remember it, and you remember seeing it, right? And then you go back, you start to go further along down the line for the of the film, and then the light pops up again, and you're like, oh, okay, so that's the what is this supposed to mean? So where am I going with this? Hitch kind of does this a lot. He'll show something, and then sometimes the movie will end and you'll go, why the heck did he show us that? It had nothing. It meant nothing, right? And then there'll be times that he'll show it again and you go, okay, so that's what it was. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the surveillance camera. She had unplugged it, right? And she's, the lady, the surveillance camera at the end. You know how that's how he was able to get back into the house.
Yeah, okay.
Because the surveillance had been up the whole time, but when she first broke in and she was knocking at the door, remember she was like, I had unplugged it.
Okay. Yeah,
so that was the whole setup.
Yeah. Okay.
Imagine this doesn't happen, right? Then the dad gets caught.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But that's a Hitch type of thing. He would do that.
He's okay.
So is what I'm saying. I caught that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean that's clever writing because you have to think about the film as a whole. It has to exactly.
But that's why a lot of filmmakers, and what I try to do, I haven't written one, but what I plan on doing is starting with my ending and writing from that.
Okay.
And I think that he might have. I'm not saying he did, but he might have done that. He's thinking of all that. Shoot,
yeah, a lot of times.
Right from that ending.
A lot of times they do say, right, you want your intro and you want your end. And then you just want to fill everything in the beginning and just fill it all in, right? But you got this and you got this, and you go, so how do we get this straight line there?
Yeah. So he might have done that. But getting back to the ending, which basically went from sad to even more sad for me, is now the Pops is trapped underneath that house. And
if that's a sad way to look at it, because it's either that or he's doing life.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, take your pick.
But now their goal is they're trying to get the house. So then he's living with them, Yeah,
and so just how unrealistic that is was what made it sad for me. Because there's no way he's going to be able to buy that house one day.
None of them.
He said he's going to save up. He's a poor dude, and that house was like dang near $4 million.
But I think the way you look at it is the way they hustled the first time, they would hustle again, and they would find their way to get the bread.
Setting in that it's just gonna be him and his mom, and the dad's just probably gonna die within
down there, right?
Down there. That was the way I took it. So it just ended on a really somber note because it just was unrealistic. And I know that there was that shred of hope that he was giving his dad with the letter, and a shred of hope for himself by writing it to his dad. But to me, it's unrealistic, and it just kind of ends on a little sad note. But how'd you feel about it?
Those are the parts that I liked. Oh no! Of course not.
That they left it up in the air, of course.
Right, and I like that it was sad.
Yeah.
Because when I left the theater, I wasn't even sad. Like, oh man, here I go back to the real world. I didn't get my escape and get to feel happy. I didn't feel that. I was excited for what I saw and was like, this was a good film. So my thing is that there is no formula to filmmaking. Yeah. There's no formula. People think that there's certain things that we need to see and we need happy endings and all that, and we don't need that because we have this Parasite here, right? Which another thing we didn't even like.
We need to touch on that too.
The title within itself because I had things to say about it. But again, so I love sad endings. I love when directors aren't afraid to just be like, oh, how can I make this happy? Yeah. Did you not watch the whole 2 hours?
The grain a little bit.
How can I make somebody feel better after all of this?
And I'm not necessarily a fan of sad movies and feeling sad when you come out of the theater. I'm a fan of feeling something. It made me feel.
Right.
So the job was done by the director. He did his job.
Right.
I felt something leaving the theater. So it was good. A few more things that we want to get into here is the actual title of the movie, Parasite. Right away, I think, because the word is so jarring, That's why I thought it was gonna be a horror film. I'm like, oh, Parasite. Like, what's this gonna be? Like some infectious movie, like Contagion or something?
I know.
Was way off base with that. But let me just read you the definition of parasite. Parasite is an organism that lives in or on an organism of another species. Quote, or in parentheses, its host, and benefits by deriving nutrients at the other's expense.
Bam. So
at the other's expense.
Right. So first thing first, he shows parasites every time they're like flicking the stuff off of their table in their house.
I didn't even peep that.
Parasite, right? That's like the lowest form.
Yeah.
That's living on them, right?
Yeah.
And they're already dirt poor.
Yeah.
And then the second one is obviously living within the basement. And the definition is literally self-explanatory as to what you're watching for the whole film. And so that's what tripped me out when I was first like Parasite. And then I saw the family living in the basement, and I'm just like, dang.
Yeah, those are the parasites. Also, the Kims are parasites themselves as they take advantage of the rich parks.
Exactly.
So you can look at that whole family
parasites.
As parasites.
Everyone in there is a parasite of some type.
Now they're taking, making a better life out of the expense of the parks.
Its host.
They literally, exactly. They literally took advantage of them and bumped off everybody in order. For
the rich family they are the host.
They are the host, and the Kims are the parasites. So kind of direct correlations there. Once you know what you're watching,
everything is
easy.
just like
kind of clicks into place for sure.
Clever title.
So let's get into kind of the juicy things here. We like to give you the Rotten Tomato.
Juicy tomatoes.
The Rotten Tomato percentage. We like to give the IMDb rating, and then we're going to give you our own slate rate that we have for movies here. But starting it off, the Rotten Tomatoes is at a 99%.
It's basically perfect.
It's perfect. It's a basically perfect score for a movie. It when they start out on Rotten Tomatoes, it drops so far so quick. So for this to remain at 99, that's kind of crazy. The IMDb score is an 8.6, which it should be a little higher in my opinion, but that's still pretty high for IMDb.
Yeah.
IMDb is more of what the people think. That's why Blair doesn't really care.
No, I don't.
And then the Rotten Tomatoes is obviously more about what the critics think.
Right.
But we're about to tell you what we think at Slate Lace. So our rating is based off of originality as well as entertainment. So if it's an original screenplay, like what we saw, what I would say, like Get Out, something like that, and then just straight up entertainment value. So let's kick it to you, 1 to 5 on originality.
It's a 5 on originality. Sometimes it doesn't, for me, for it to be original, it doesn't always need to be a story that I've never heard. Sometimes it's just gonna be how you tell it.
Kind of where we differ there. I don't know, but
for me it could be
down. I don't know.
It could be on how you tell it. Like if you just flipped it and you started in reverse, sometimes it's things like that. Obviously that's been done now, but that's just my example. Is sometimes if you just flip the story or how you tell it, if you start in the middle, whatever you choose to do, that sometimes can end up being original. But again, this is original, to me in a way. Sure. So I gotta give it a 5 on that.
1 to 5 on entertainment.
It's a 5. Yep. I was dead tired and didn't even realize I was tired. Yep. So I got it. It gets a straight, and I fall asleep on films, right? So that's straight up a 5 for me too, as well. So I mean that gives it the
score of 10.
Yeah,
and it's a 99 on Rotten Tomatoes, so you're not that far.
Yeah. Me and Mr. Rotten, we're in agreement right now. We're in agreement.
I gotta go 5 out of 5 on originality as well. There's not been a screenplay that this is picking from. Obviously, he has his Alfred Hitchcock nods, but he's not taken directly from it. You've never seen this before. I can guarantee you that. And then entertainment, exactly. I was entertained throughout. I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what was going to happen next. That ending was insane. Wasn't expecting that. So it's a 5 out of 5. So perfect 10 from the Slate Lace crew here.
Yeah, we loved it.
It's a 10 out of 10.
I don't even know if there's really anybody on the planet that disliked it. Yeah.
Well, the way
unless you just
the Oscars, which is probably the toughest critics there is, nobody disliked this movie.
Yeah. If you did, you just didn't understand it, and you got to watch it again.
If you did, you didn't like to read. That's what
Shoot, straight up.
You just didn't to read, and you fell asleep.
Yeah, that you did.
Anyways, y'all, that's it for us today. Just keep rocking with us. And we're going to get into more deep dives, and we're going to continue to bring you better content each and every week. So Hang in there with us. We're that bi-weekly podcast getting you through that young hump day.
Bye.